Said that perhaps Joe Manchin is about the last reasonable Democrat out there, and also said at the same time, I think he's just enjoying all of this attention he's getting for being, the swing vote in the Senate, as it were. But when the chips were down on the table and Chuck Schumer's like, hey, you gotta fucking vote with us, guess what Joe did? He stood right in the line and he's gonna go ahead and vote with them. And you know what? To be fair, you're part of the party, okay? You're all supposed to vote in one direction. Your boss tells you to vote in that direction, so either you become an independent, you cross the aisle, or you fucking vote along with your party, and then you can just live to fight another day. Continue to go on that campaign. Oh, I'm not questioning and I'm not compromising any of my values when it comes to the filibuster. But this vote right here, it's so goddamn important. I need to sign with my Democratic friends. And you know what? This issue of federalizing elections is going to be dead on arrival anyways, because nobody really wants it. Honestly, the only people that want this are about the 50 Democrats that are in the Senate right now, and then the idiots in the House as well who passed this all the way up until this point where we're currently at right now. And at the end of the day, like I said, the filibuster is still there. They're still going to need a 3/5 majority, 60 votes in order to pass this. And even if all 7 of those rhinos, and you already can do the math, even if they side with the Democrats for some stupid reason or another, they're still 3 votes short. I don't think that they can find an extra few Republicans so desperate to lurch into retirement. I don't see that happening. But yeah, don't put your faith in any Democrat out there. And also, don't be fucking falling for any of that Kyrsten Sinema shit. She is the biggest snake in the grass after all. Because I don't know if her membership for the Communist Party in Arizona has run out yet, but yeah, that's where her affiliations run. Senator Joe Manchin caved under pressure from Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer to Tuesday, which, is today, agreeing to vote to advance the federal takeover of election legislations. Yes, the For the People Act this is all about, and it's so stupid. It's really just fucking retarded. The long and short of it is, and we've been over this a bunch of times, mass mail-in ballots, they just get sent out to whoever, whenever, whatever, why ever, and totally gets rid of voter identification. Sounds like it's really for the people, right? Not just for whoever gets the right envelope at the right time. The deal entailed Manchin being the 50th Democratic vote to advance the For the People Act, which still must survive a Republican filibuster during a procedural hurdle, is in exchange for a vote on Manchin's alterations to the legislation if Republicans cave and support debating the legislation. Today I will vote yes to move to debate this updated voting legislation as a substitute amendment to ensure every eligible voter is able to cast their ballot and participate in our great democracy. Something you don't need additional legislation for, because last time I checked, everybody could still vote, okay? You're 18 years old and you're registered to vote. Guess what? In most states, some states, you can fucking even register the same day, which is absolutely retarded. But hey, them are the breaks right now, and you gotta play within the rules. And passing this bill wouldn't restrict or reinforce anything that you're saying it's going to. So, yeah, Joe, I ain't gonna trust you going forward anymore. Not that I did. I just figured, you were a man of principle and one of the few remaining Democrats out there that had a decent head on your shoulders, but sometimes you're wrong. Over the past month, I have worked to eliminate the far-reaching provisions in Senate Bill 1, the For the People Act, which I do not support. I found common ground with my Democratic colleagues in a new version of the bill that ensures our elections are fair, accessible, and secure. What are your alterations, Joe? Doesn't say anywhere in here, but yeah, it's not like it's really going to matter because it's not going to pass that 60 vote threshold. Like, this is all just theater at the time right now. It says here, Senate Republicans are likely to stand firm on Tuesday and defeat the federal election takeover legislation though the Democrats seek to cancel state voter ID laws and publicly fund political campaigns. Yeah, that's another big thing that's in there. Matching if I could just remember some of the other additional points that are in there. I think it's up to $1,500 or $1,300 is matched. Every donation up to that point is matched by the federal government, which doesn't seem corrupt or weird or heavily in favor of incumbents going forward, just further entrenching the swamp. But this is for the people, right? Because that's what it's named. But let's get into the Spurgy response, shall we? White House uses January 6th Capitol riot as justification for federal voting legislation. Okay, you couldn't defend your own fucking house. That's your guys' claim, that this was the biggest affront to the democracy since the Civil War, which is kind of weird because you're a constitutional republic, but I digress. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki issued full-throated support for federal voting legislation that would change voting laws in every state, using the Capitol Hill riot of January 6th as justification for Biden's administration's stance. Sure. Real quick, if I can follow up on voting rights here, a journalist asked yesterday, you said that there's more work to be done, among that is including engaging in state legislatures, but the problem, as Democrats at least see it, is not problems in blue state legislatures, it's Republican-controlled states, and how can we just separate them out and push them into the ocean? Oh, I'm sorry, where many of these decisions are already being made, and yeah, you can just see the racism just pouring out all of those states. It's just horrendous right now. Oh my god, whatever are we gonna do? So that leverage, do you actually have? What realistically do you think you can accomplish in some of these red states? Oh yeah, take them over. Okay, the red states aren't doing exactly what we want them to do, so what are you gonna do to bully them into doing exactly what we want them to do, because democracy is important? Retards. At the press briefing, Psaki emphasized to reporters that the Biden administration efforts have been a federal approach that is needed. It's not needed. It's a state's issue. It is something that circumvents, what is that, the 10th Amendment, states' rights, and also how electors can be selected through whatever means the states deem necessary. This is a big overreach, so even if it did pass through the Senate, somebody would sue to it, and then you would hope that the Supreme Court would have to levy some sort of response to this, because it just doesn't pass any of the constitutional tests that are out there. We've been through this, but since it's going to a vote and it's up in the Senate right now, we might as well just go back over most of the big talking points. State legislatures across the country are passing a wave of anti-voter laws based on the same repeatedly disproven lies that led to an assault on our nation's capital. However will you survive? Did somebody come in and steal your hat with the Soviet emblem on it, Jen? Is that why you're so torn up about this? Republican-held state legislatures are putting these laws in place because red states do not like the outcome, and they've continued to perpetuate a lie about the outcome of the election. That's why we're here. That's why you guys keep bitching and bellyaching about the Maricopa County audit. You keep suing for the Fulton County audit that's supposed to be happening, and don't worry, I haven't forgot. Come the fall, you guys are going to be fucking still moaning and groaning about the audit in Wisconsin. Listen, nothing can happen. All we can do is find any irregularities that are there. So who keeps perpetuating the same lies over and over again, that everything's fine and perfect and wonderful, and if Big Daddy government can just come in and make everything better, everything would be better? You're just standing in our way. So yeah, that was the White House's measured response. How about somebody who's down there? I've changed my mind on the filibuster. Somebody who's used it a ton, Debbie Stabenow. Due to its perversion of it, minority can stop the will of the majority. It's funny coming from a Democrat. Aren't you guys all about minorities? That's what you tell us. You don't act that way, but that's what you tell us. Don't you think that the underrepresented should have a voice? Aren't you guys the party of the working people? Aren't you guys the party of minorities, huh? Shouldn't you be all about minorities? But nah, now that you guys have the power, now that you're in the driving seat, you only want the will of the majority to be there. Oh, but what does she know? She's just a senator. Oh, fuck. On Tuesday's broadcast, the MSNBC's Haley Jackson reports, I've never heard of that show in my life, okay? Senator Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat from Michigan, stated that her viewpoints on the filibuster have changed because there's now a perversion of the rules. Why? It's still the exact same rules. Oh, you guys just aren't the one employing it. I get it. And that the founders supported majority rule, and people will lose faith in the governments if we don't have majority rule. Why do you think they invented the Electoral College, Debbie? Oh my God, I'm a Canadian, okay? I just learned this stuff because we weren't taught it in school. I just teach myself this stuff, and I talk with people who better understand that. But you know, you think that somebody who's an elected official who's been around the Senate for a very long time should probably know the fact that the founding fathers weren't for the tyranny of the majority, okay? That's why they fought the United Kingdom. That's why they fought for their own independence, because they didn't want to get tyrannized by the people across the sea, okay? That's why the Electoral College is there. That's why they didn't want all of the power to be coming specifically from the cities. But no. We'll just go ahead and go with your interpretation of the facts. Please, Debbie, tell us your truth. My calculus has changed. Why would it? You've been there since its founding. I came to the Senate 20 years ago. That's a problem to discuss for another day. I had a different view at the time, similar to our senator from Arizona, and the world was completely flipped upside down. Then I figured out I could cash in and flip-flop, and that's why I'm here. Oh, I'm sorry. We now have a perversion of the rules. We have a tyranny of the minority, really. And I think Alexander Hamilton, when was he president, by the way? I don't remember. Is probably rolling over in his grave, because the fundamental debate in our Constitution was about majority rule. They debated majority-ish rule versus supermajority rule. Oh, okay, so you're just going ahead and shifting the goalposts. I get it. And they came down on the side of majority rule. And in fact, I'm going back now and deep and reading the Federalist Papers. Not well, obviously. Federalist 22, where Alexander Hamilton really laid out what's happening now and how people will lose faith in their government if it's not a majority rule. How the minority can manipulate things. Or can stop the will of the majority, which is exactly what's happening now. It's funny, right? Okay, she's talking about the will of the majority, right? And this is all in consequence and all in relation to the For the People Act, okay? No more voter ID laws, no, just mass mail-in balloting, federalizing the funding, and all of that other fun stuff. But guess who doesn't like it? That would be the majority. The majority of people hate that idea. Most Americans support both easier access to early voting and requiring photo identifications to vote, according to Monmouth. The public is more divided on expanding vote by mail, although a majority would like to see some national voting guidelines established for federal elections. The poll also finds that 1/3 of public believe audits of the 2020 election results are legitimate efforts to uncover irregularities. There you go. Going directly to the people. Okay, you guys are all about our democracy. Okay, cool. We're going to play by your rules for a second. We're going to go and we're going to take a look at every single individual out there. Okay, everybody's vote counts exactly the same. We're going to go and ask them what they think. A large majority, 71% of people feel in-person early voting should be generally made easier. Okay, just 16% said it should be made harder. Opinion is more divided on voting by mail. 50% say this should be made easier, and 39% it should be made harder. Probably should be made harder. And then for the first point as well, early in-person voting, it should be made exactly the same as mail-in voting as well. You should have a reason why you can't show up on election day. Because I'm sure Debbie will probably get to this when she continues to go through the Federalist Papers. The election was supposed to be one day. That's why it's in the Constitution. It's in the founding documents. It's election day, not month, not week, not weekend, election day. So if you can't make it on that day, in that 24-hour period, that 16-hour period, however long the polls are open, you should have a valid excuse. Okay? It shouldn't be, I don't know, I just don't want to be in a line, so I'm just going to come earlier. Or, I'm going to be away for the day. What are you going to be doing? Oh, I don't know, I think I need to grocery shop that Tuesday. Not valid excuses. Get your shit together. At the same time, fully 4 in 5 Americans, 80%, support requiring voters to show photo identification in order to cast a ballot. Just 18% oppose this. Oh, those are those good white liberals up there in the California hills, right? Where Patrice Cullors just bought her most recent Black Lives Matter founded mansion, of course. But maybe, to be fair to Debbie, you know, she's a senator after all, but she was worried about the tyranny of the supermajority. And you know what, maybe 80% meets that threshold for her, so maybe that's what she's concerned about. She's much more concerned about the 18% out there. Easy in-person voting, access, and requiring photo IDs both have bipartisan majority support. Approval of making early voting easier stands at 89% among Democrats, 68% among independents, and 56% among Republicans. Yeah, if you're just going to go ahead and leave most of the conditions in there, that's fine. But if you're going to have more polls, I don't think that's a problem. That's one thing we could look at. You could just have more polling stations, okay? I don't think that's a problem. Just have the same security precautions out there and have the same rules for all of the different polling locations. We're copacetic. Support for requiring a photo ID to vote stands at 62% among Democrats, 87% among independents. That's what I care about. Just look at these swings that are in here. It's fucking astounding. And 91% among Republicans. Only Democrats back making voting by mail easier too, with 84% supporting the idea to just 40% of independents and 26% of Republicans. Holy fuck, what a difference. If you ain't true blue all the way through till the end, you're generally in the middle on all this stuff. More than 2 in 3 Americans, 69% support establishing national guidelines to allow vote by mail and in-person early voting in federal elections in every state. Just 25% oppose this idea. Support for establishing national voting guidelines on these issues comes from 92% of Democrats, 63% of independents, and 51% of Republicans. I'd be interested to see what those national guidelines would be, but we don't know. The poll contains some seemingly conflicting information on voter access. Oh, you don't say? One party has a severe lack of information, and the other party has somewhat of an information gap. See if we can clean this up. The bottom line seems to be that most Democrats and Republicans want to take the potential for election results to be questioned off the table. Yes, the problem, though, is they aren't likely to agree on how to get there, said Patrick Murray, director of the independent Monmouth University Polling Institute. More Americans say voter disenfranchisement, 50%, is a major problem in the United States, and the same about voter fraud, 37%. Democrats, 64%, are more likely than either Republicans, 43%, or independents, 42%, to see disenfranchisement as being a major problem. Republicans, at 64%, are more likely than independents, at 41%, and both groups are much more likely than Democrats, 10%. I don't know about you guys, but these numbers are jumping right off the fucking page. The polarization is fucking strong. But again, this is the tyranny of the majority, apparently. Can't be giving in to these big swaths of people who want sensical laws on the books in order to govern their life. No. You need the bureaucrats up there in Washington to tell you how to live your life, how to govern every aspect of your life. That's what they think, and they think that they represent the people. Sure is funny how disconnected you can become in 20 years in office. But it's funny, this all stems back to the filibuster, right? Oh, my opinion changed on that, okay? And no, I'm just picking on Debbie because that's the article I had up, but literally you can run down the list. You can take a look at all of the Democrats that are out there saying, oh, the filibuster, it just has to go. And if it wasn't for that evil Manchin and cinema, we'd just get rid of it with a simple majority vote. Yeah, but that just wasn't the case, a fucking couple of years ago? Democrats used the filibuster 314 times under Trump. Now they want to abolish it. We all knew this, but it's nice to have a number there, okay? 314 times. The Republicans had the House and they had the Senate in 2016 after the presidential election there. They lost the House in 2018, and now they have total control in 2020. Nothing funny going on there. The effort to undo the Senate's legislative filibuster is an un-American, constitution-eroding, radical play to nationalize politics by empowering slim and fleeting majorities to institute wide-ranging generational policies. No, I have it on good authority. This is what people want. Judging from media coverage, you might be under the impression that Mitch McConnell is some kind of duty to diffuse the Democrats' threat to the filibuster reform. Reform is a euphemism for liberals destroying long-held Senate norms by preemptively acquiescing to the demands before he even knows what they are. Few reporters seem to have even the slightest bit of curiosity as to why the filibuster emergency didn't come up during the Trump administration when Democrats were constantly, in an unprecedented fashion, very much so, even using the parliamentary tool against the president. You don't say. Democrats filibustered the GOP when it was running the House, Senate, and presidency. They filibustered a COVID relief bill and Tim Scott's criminal justice bill, just to name a couple of recent examples. And then whatever wasn't filibustered during, 2017 to about 2019, Paul Ryan was the Speaker of the House, and that had its own hurdles to get over with to begin with. The Senate GOP had to end debate on judicial nominees and break filibuster 314 times in President Donald Trump's single term. To put that in perspective, every other president in history in the United States has faced combined every other president in United States history combined. 244 of those roll call votes over a filibuster. But now all of a sudden it's a problem because they don't have total federal control. They hate the fact that the states can circumvent the big old power grab. Yeah, if it wasn't for that pesky Constitution, yeah, they'd have a cop outside everybody's house making sure that they follow the rules to the T, and don't you think that that's a vast over-exaggeration? So yeah, it's a good thing that it's still there, and things like the For the People Act should require, things of that scope, things of that nature, should require bipartisan support. It should be developed by a vast array, a very diverse group, if you will, of ideological positions. Not, no, we like mail-in voting. Everybody gets mail-in ballots. Nobody has to show ID, and we're just going to run everything on the honor system, and we're going to match everything like it's a fucking donation drive. For every $5 you put down, we'll put it down another $5 into your account. You can go ahead and you can play wherever you want. It's stupid, and I'm glad that there's still some adults in the room because, holy fuck, man. When their time's up in 2024, I'm sorry, even sooner in 2022, yeah, they're going to definitely be hoping that the filibuster is back. But again, this is another one of those instances where they think that their time is going to be up, and this is their last big grasp at power. So they're going balls deep. They are going all in on all of these radical reforms, and that's not even just being somebody relying on buzzwords, because you really can't overstate the importance of this For the People Act. It sucks, but it's not going to get passed thanks to the filibuster and thanks to that pesky old Constitution. But we didn't touch on the old man, thankfully, because he's probably outside of preschool right now. So we got to talk about the Hunter Biden situation right now, because he's selling some paintings and he might be asking his old man to foot the bill for a crack binge. It's a little bit fucking spicy, but we'll talk about it here right quick. Thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Catch y'all later.